Alrighty guys, Terry Presnell and American Outdoorsman wanted to see the strip till bar. I asked them a while back, in the summertime I think, about it. But I thought I'd do a video of it. It's a homemade one. Dad built this 10 years or 11 years ago. We're looking for some ways just to save back on some hours on the tractors and try to get a little more out of our yields. And built this strip till bar. And for those of you who don't know, strip till, most of the guys sometimes every now and then will strip till beans, or you get run in corn stalks as strip till bar, but these things don't like a ton of residue, and so most guys, they'll make strips in bean stubble and plant corn into it. Most of the time it's always 30-inch rows. You get much narrower than that, you might as well just chisel it, and then work it in the springtime. But these strips, we'll make a strip about 8 inches wide and about 7 or 8 inches deep, and it makes a good enough seed bed. It's smooth enough. We just plant right into that in the springtime, into that black strip, and it warms up quicker in the springtime and holds weeds down pretty well in the row middles, because it's throwing all the trash off into the row middles. Hold the weeds down and then put the crop right in the strip. And it works pretty good. The ground's firmer for harvesting and whatnot. It's not. If we've gotten into a wet fall, we rarely would ever cut ruts in a strip-tilled field. But in fields where we've chiseled, ground's a little looser. I think that would hurt the crop some, but it doesn't, because it's still got a real nice mellow strip where the crop's growing, but then it leaves it firm in the row middles where the equipment's running. So it's kind of a win-win. I think the reason guys don't do it as much is because it is finicky in the fall time. If it's too wet, or you can't run a ton of residue, and you got to have GPS. Well, you don't have to have GPS on the tractors. We don't use GPS, but it would make it nicer, because then you can just come back and plant into a straighter strip in the springtime. It's just a little more work, and I think that's why guys don't do it. But we're willing to do that to try to get a little more out of our farming operation. More work in the fall time, but Dad was looking on Ag Talk, or no, it wasn't Ag Talk, maybe it was Ag Talk. There was a guy had said on there about strip tilling that he'd always fought it some in the fall time, but every spring he was glad he had went ahead and made strips, because it was easy to plant into then. But anyway, on this strip till bar, what it is a white 5100 planter frame with Henniker row crop cultivator units, floating row units on there that Dad has took the sweeps off of, took the shanks. These shanks used to run and stick way out in front. He cut them, turned them half around, and welded them back in to make this ripper shank out of them here, and put points on them. And they'll run about 7-8 inches deep. And then we got a Martin row cleaner, fixed row cleaners, and Yetter disc sealers on it. This is set up for Pete's sake. Hold on. Anyway, to run about 7-8 inches deep. This is a factory cultivator here. Dad made this bracket and everything here for this. Had these holes in it, bolt the shank up in there, and made this deal here. These row units are taller than the planter row units were, so he made these. I think there's 8-inch extensions to go in here, drop the wheel modules down, so it'll lift the units out high off the ground high enough. This is set up for anhydrous, and we've bought last year. We didn't put it on this past fall. We ran out of time, but we bought a dry fertilizer cart to pull behind it, and we're going to set it up to put dry fertilizer on, but we're still undecided whether we're going to do that or not. And at some point I'll make a video on fertilizer and whatnot, and what pros and cons on why we wouldn't want to do that, and why we would not want to put the fertilizer down under the strip. We would, but where it might not be worth it to just put it onto the strip, it'd be better just to keep having the dry spread on the fields by the fertilizer company. But I'll explain that in some other video sometime. We have used it to put on anhydrous before. Actually, if you guys saw that this past spring, it was you subbed me back then. This past spring we put anhydrous on with it. That little box there, that is a wheat seeder. That's a poor man's GPS. And makes a little wheat strip there, and then in the springtime we just find that wheat strip and just follow it. And then for spraying, you just count every third wheat strip and spray with the 90-foot sprayer. It's pretty nice to have, and it don't use but a couple bags of wheat over 600 plus acres, because we don't strip till everything. Some of the smaller fields on the timber soil we don't, just because it's kind of a hassle on the odd shaped fields, and it doesn't pay as well as it does here down on the black dirt. But I think we're going to try to buy another strip till bar this winter and replace this one, because it was fine with this one when we were pulling it with the 4210. It didn't have as much power. We'd pull it, 4 to 5 miles an hour, and we still pull at the same depth. We were pulling it 4 to 5 mile an hour, and it held together all right. And we've added all this extra framework in here to stiffen it up. Once you fold it out, you hook these things up, but you have to unhook them when you fold it up, because the geometry doesn't work there. But the hinges are there was a crack in one of them, I can't remember where, and the hitch is getting pretty weak on it. It's just been pulled on too much, and we welded it up this past year to get it to run this past fall. But it is built as a planter frame, not a strip till bar frame. So I think we're going to try to get one to replace it, because that Versatile, instead of running 45 mile an hour, we run 5.5 to 6.5 mile an hour at the Versatile. So just too much power sitting in front of it. It's been a good strip till bar for us, and it's getting pretty wore out. It's time we're going to need to put a new set of shanks on it, or make a new set of shanks for it to run another year. They might run one more year, but we figure we might go ahead and just buy another strip till bar. So I'm sure I'll do a video of it if we get it, and what we're going to do there. But so yeah, that's pretty much a strip till bar. Not a whole lot to it. Make stuff nice in the springtime though. Don't even have to run over the bean stubble. You don't put the strips freeze out over winter, and makes a nice mellow strip to plant into. And we'd seen some yield data the other day that over an 8-year period, they strip tillage system over a conventional chisel and then work once in the springtime. Or I guess we just work it once in the springtime, not chiseling it. But one pass in the spring on bean stubble, or we'll do the one pass in the fall at the strip till bar. It was either the same or consistently over 8 years, about 3 bushel better, which 3 bushel doesn't pay, or you could say it's a fluke, but where they've done replicated trial over 8 years, I think it does pay to do the strip till bar, because there's no tillage layer or anything come springtime, because it's all froze out. But You just put up with a little bit of finickiness in the fall time with it, but. And we're also looking at getting some GPS for the tractor, just to make it nicer. Because we had one guy wanted 120 acres of custom strip till done this fall, and we did it for him. But we thought, we could, it'd be easier to do, and you could do a better job of it if we had GPS on the tractor. And he was happy with what we did. Dad made, drove real straight, the best he could. But it would be nice, you could work after dark and everything if you had GPS. So kind of looking at getting some of that too. So, but I think that's overview of the strip till bar and whatnot. So thanks Terry Presnell and American Outdoorsman for requesting the video. And I think that'll about be it. Thanks for watching.